this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And as you probably know, it's been a while since my last vlog, and I thought that it was time to get back in the saddle. After the hurricane hit, I contracted a bit of a cold and my voice really was not up to its normal quality, and I thought I really should wait till I had it back. And now I do. During this time, I've had a number of people ask me about a pagan, or more specifically Correllian view on the subject of suicide. So that is going to be today's topic. There's not a single person who's asked, but several. So I won't mention names. But this is basically my answer to that question from the Correllian point of view. Because, of course, the term pagan includes many different viewpoints, and it would be very difficult to give an encyclopedic answer to that question from just a pagan point of view. But from the Correllian point of view, there's a very distinct answer in terms of suicide and what happens to the soul of people who commit suicide, etc. And our answer would be that suicide is no different than any other form of death. Death is basically the same for all of us when we come to it, and the same forces operate. Now, certainly the circumstances surrounding the death have an effect on that, and suicide often involves certain particular circumstances, but not always. And before we go forward, a word or two about suicide. Most of us, when we hear that term, think of someone who commits suicide because they're overwhelmed by emotional issues and just cannot find a way through them. And that certainly is the majority of cases of suicide in today's world, but it's not the only circumstance in which the term is relevant. People also commit suicide sometimes in situations where they're facing terminal illnesses where nothing more can be done, where they're facing tremendous pain that cannot be relieved, or in order to give their life for someone else. And there are many, many movies where someone throws themselves dramatically in front of a bullet or an arrow or a dagger to save someone else. Well, this too is a form of suicide, because if a person does that, they know they're going to die. And it is a choice that they are making. So, bearing in mind that suicide refers to far more situations than just the one most people will commonly think of, again, the processes that operate at the time of death are the same for everyone. What are those processes? Well, either you cross directly into the next world or you don't. Most of us will cross directly into the afterlife, where we will be helped by our spirit guides and the spirits of our loved ones. And for most people, there is a period of healing and regeneration before they're truly established in the afterlife. And from there they go on to reincarnation, and in many cases part of them will also remain as an ancestor, but that's a different vlog. But other people do not immediately cross. They become caught between the worlds. And this happens because of emotional circumstances or other blockages which hold them back. Usually it's fear of going forward. Sometimes, however, it's simply very strong emotion the person cannot deal with. So if one has committed suicide because of very, very strong emotions that they can't deal with, chances are they're still going to be dealing with it after they've done so. And in this case, it may be very difficult for them to allow their spirit guides and the spirits of their loved ones to help them cross. What can be done in such a situation? Well, a person who is skilled with mediumship can attempt to help the person cross, sometimes with more success than others. But you have to help them to understand that the pain and fear that is holding them back does not need to. Very often they're afraid of judgment in the afterlife if they come from that sort of background. In other cases, they don't even know they're dead, but are still trapped in all of those emotions, which you may have to help them through. But this isn't simply because they committed suicide. This can be in any kind of death that is accompanied by that kind of heavy emotion. And so it's still the same processes. And once they have been helped to cross over, then their guides and loved ones will take over with further healing. So that would be my answer. Suicide is not a special category of death. It is simply a category of death. But because it's often involving very strong emotions, the spirit may need extra help in crossing over, and may have difficulty in doing it themselves. So that's what I would say to that. I hope you find it helpful, and until next time, may you blessed be. Reverend Don, super omnibus of incantations and invocations for all occasions. Marianne Kay and I created this massive compendium of magic and artwork for you to use in any way that you would like. There are literally hundreds of spells and hundreds of illustrations, which can be mixed and matched and used in many different ways. Check it out now at witchghoulstore.com. Pray for peace. Pray for love. Pray for stability. Pray for the nation where you live. Pray for the world.